Hello and welcome to D2C Podcast. I'm Eric Dick. Today's episode is a very special one. I've been using Meta Ads since about 2011 when I first tried to sell a Redbubble Donnie Darko t-shirt to fans of the movie Donnie Darko. Now, especially at Pilot House over the last 3 years, I've witnessed the incredible power and scale of what can be done with Meta Ads for businesses big and small. Today's podcast guest is SVP Ads at Meta, Goksu Nebol-Perlman. Now, she's been on the other side of the equation, and her unique role at Meta has given her end-to-end creation to launch control over most of the ad tools and features that we've all come to love over the years. Goksu understands better than any platform side person I've met the inner workings of digital performance marketing and how to maximize your returns on Meta ads. Today, we go deep on Goksu's crowning achievement at Meta, Avantage Plus campaigns, or ASC, which are Meta's generative AI ad building tools, which they rolled out earlier this year to pretty much universal acclaim. Listen to this podcast for a clear roadmap of how to fully leverage Meta's AI in this year's first ever AI-powered Q4. You'll learn how Avantage Plus campaigns are designed to help you uncover blind spots in both your audience and creative with some cool examples. We've also been saying it for years, and Meta agrees that creative is the new targeting, so we'll uncover the best ways to increase your creative velocity with AI and ASC. Hope you like this one. On with the show.
An advertiser cannot talk about the holiday season early enough. And this is going to be the holiday of AI. First holiday cycle powered by AI, I think, for both consumers and marketers, which is super exciting and interesting. This is that tipping point where we're now there, and I think this is why it's super exciting. And I think the more we lean in and help these models and tools develop to achieve the outcomes we need, marketers need to lean in and use these. And, with more learning, it's machine learning, so it needs that. I think they're going to get smarter and better. So lean into the AI-powered tools. It'll be more efficient, more powerful, and hopefully better returns for the overall campaigns you're running.
Goksu, welcome to the D2C podcast. I am extremely excited to have you here. I feel like you have probably had your hands on so many of the tools that I have worked on over the past 5 years when it comes to the Meta ad suite. How's it going?
It's going really well, and great to be here, Eric. Thanks for the invite.
So what do you think is the highest impact aspect of the Meta ads platform as far as you're concerned right now?
I think right now you're seeing in the industry and industry at large a big conversation around, obviously, generative AI. And I think what's really shining here is that, AI overall for us is not a new thing. We've been working on AI for years at Meta. Dating back to 2006, Facebook feed was powered by AI. So I think now we're starting to see, for example, Advantage Plus portfolio of products really having traction in the market because of the AI that it's powered by. And that's super exciting, hearing a lot of great stories of success that, many businesses are finding on the platform. And that for me and my team and the, company at large is just such a gratifying place to be.
I want to dive in on ASC and generative AI, but first I want to give the listeners just a bit more of a background of you and your hero's journey at Meta. Can you tell us a little bit about what your time at Meta has been like, what you've had your hands on?
Yes, absolutely. So I joined Meta around 7 years ago. It's been more than 7 years now. Always in the space of business products and advertising. And always in this area that's the function that I've been leading is business product marketing. And it really, the job is we're in charge of overall go-to-market strategy for our advertising and business products. And also a lot of the insights in terms of what we should be building and what we should be, focused on in terms of our roadmaps. And I joined here from Skype, Microsoft, back in the day, like I said, 2016. And it's been just such a fantastic journey in terms of being able to support businesses of all sizes around the globe and being able to build products and then iterate on them and, help businesses find success on the platform. And I think, now in 2022, the conversation really turned to AI, and this is the moment. And in 2022, we did create this umbrella of products called Advantage Portfolio, which you and I just talked about a little bit, and it's been a huge runway hit in terms of its takeoff in market, and that's just been very gratifying. But my entire journey here has been on the business and advertising side.
And it sounds like you've had, with your position, you have you're sometimes your team and you are coming up with the products that you want to build for advertisers. You're seeing them all the way through to launching into the wild, which I feel in a company like Meta, as big as it is, it's probably rare to have someone who sees as many things from start to finish.
Yeah, it's a very, really exciting journey, really, because the team has to go and identify the problem statements, like the problems we should be going and solving, and then assessing with our product cross-functional partners, which are comprised of so many different functions in the company, to see if we can solve these problems, are we well suited to address them, and how could we address them. From that comes the product roadmap that we actually build. And then, like you said, like the last mile, the actually execution of the product, taking it to market is also under the watch of my team. So it's a really, really it's a fun journey to see the very early idea that you might have come up with, see fruition at the end and take it to market.
And it's fun for us as advertisers to have all these great tools rolled out. I know just from my, I'm talking about Meta products at least once or twice a month with each of the different podcasts that we do. And the feedback on ASC has been pretty positive as far as rollouts go. It's interesting to me because you're right. Like, Meta has been using AI for almost a decade or maybe longer in the feed and beyond. And what's the big difference, do you think, about this concept of generative AI and how it's becoming more visibly impactful for advertisers on the platform? What is ASC harnessing about generative AI that makes it even more useful?
Yeah, I mean, AI is such a hot topic. Like, any industry event you're at right now, AI is the only one and only thing we're talking about. But like you said, it didn't, pop overnight. I mean, going back to 2006, we have this feed, that's already powered by that. And we operate under the tenet of that. But we want to make sure that AI is practical, it's accessible, it's responsible, and actually it's being used in a way where it yields results, right? For every marketer here, in your company, anyone who's listening, I think the word optimization, these are things that I think we all have in our lexicon. And I think that optimization is actually powered by AI. And the ad consolidation of products automation tools that we consolidated under the Advantage umbrella is AI powered. And so you're seeing a ton of D2C brands like Jones Road Beauty, WMP Eyewear, Zox achieve amazing results using Advantage Plus shopping campaigns right now. And in fact, we quoted this in our last earnings in Q1. Daily revenue from Advantage Plus shopping campaign is up 7x in the last 6 months. That tells you how it's scaling. And I think the biggest thing here is that it really helps an advertiser automate every step of the ad creation process from start to finish. But there are also options, like, for example, with Advantage Plus Creative, marketers have the option to let Meta automatically adjust the brightness, the aspect ratios, text placement, and all that, right? Like to optimize the ad. Advantage Plus shopping campaigns let you automate targeting, bidding, placement, like such important parts of the actual ad that you're running to find your new customers. Advantage Plus audience will let you find, automate the targeting and find you the right audience. And obviously, we also have Shops ads, which is part of our in the portfolio. It's using AI to send the customer to where they're most likely to convert, wherever that is, either your website or actually your shop on Instagram or Facebook, as long as it's an easy checkout experience. So you're seeing this AI, all of this is being powered by AI, and you have options to choose in terms of which one you want to use. That is all very much growing, as I mentioned. And Eric, what are you hearing in terms of the folks that you speak to and also obviously at the company?
Yeah, I think what we hear all the time, it's funny, it's something we echoed in the pre-interview. We talk all the time, ever since the dreaded iOS 14.5, which we shall no longer speak of, event, how the some of the aspects of targeting have been degrading. Some of the aspects of relying on your lookalike stacks and very specific audience targeting being one of the ways that you drive costs down and get higher conversion rates. That since iOS 14.5 has gone away, or it's gone away a little bit more so. And we talk so much on this podcast about letting your creative do the heavy lifting, letting your creative be the bait on your hook, the thing that catches someone's attention, the thing that actually draws your audience to you. And that's always suited us as an agency at Pilot House, because we work really hard at coming up with our angles and making sure we have congruent funnels and all these things. What ASC is what's so cool about ASC is to me, it's like the first platform I've seen from an ad network that really recognizes this fact and allows you, the fact that creative is the new targeting, and really allows you to, uncover potential blind spots that you might have had previously when you were maybe setting up your audiences ahead of time. So I think that's the one thing. And then just overall, it's a pretty positive, in terms of it working as well or better than people's traditional campaign setups. It's rare that when something comes out of the gate, you hear buzz like that. But with this, you did, which I think is a really good sign for the future of these AI products.
Thank you for that insight. And I just want to pick up on something I'm going to build on the thing you talked about, which is this creative is the new targeting. And we're hearing that a lot. And let me just give you my perspective on that is actually, creating ads with specific messages, value prop, and themes for distinct audiences is more important than granularly targeting audiences, and let AI handle the ad targeting tools. Advantage Plus Shopping is working because it does that really well. And we did a recent study, basically. We found that out of 2,700 advertisers, creative diversification, super critical. It led to 32% improvement in cost per acquisition, 9% increase in incremental reach. This stuff works when you do it the right way. And I think, the key thing to think about here is the control topic. Out of all the things that you can control in our ad system, creative is one of the most important. So if you can actually iterate on the creative with insights from your customers, it's one of the strongest performance levers. If for those folks who are listening, I'd love for them to take this away. If you're looking for, which I know you are, to get performance gains, play with the creative, keep iterating on it. And I think that's why we for Advantage Shopping, it's such a critical thing to make sure that you're feeding it the new creative and thinking about it. And I'll tell you this: we had an event and. Cody, who's the CMO, Cody Plofker of Jones Road Beauty, he said it so well. And I'm going to quote him on this because he said the whole idea was about this, creative as the new targeting. And he said, Advantage Plus Shopping campaigns allows our team to get a lot of our time back because we have confidence in machine learning and not needing to worry about manually overriding it. And then that allows us time to spend our time focusing on new product launches. For us, creative is targeting, so we're always trying different messaging, and we'll throw that in Advantage Plus Shopping campaigns, and that gives us great feedback on what's resonating and what's not. So using it as a testing ground is a brilliant approach that many D2C brands are, I think, taking.
I love it. And it's also makes things simple because you mentioned, I forget the term exactly, but it's sort of there was this feeling that when you had a new angle or you had something you wanted to test, you kind of had to you felt like you had to force feed Facebook to serve it so that you'd be like, okay, well, I have this new angle. I want to put it out here and I don't want to just put it in my regular campaign. I want to put it on its own so it gets traffic. But the beauty of ASC is it's just all one big gumbo pot. And you can just kind of put in all these different angles from all of your different audiences that, all of the different value props that might appeal to different audiences as well as general ones. And then, the gumbo pot just figures it out and you don't have to do all this forced work.
And the other thing is, I'll give you another case, a very important case study, which I think most folks probably don't realize this. You approach ASC and you let it take the creative and drive the performance, and then it really with the measurement and the insights you get, you better understand where your ads are going to better perform. So actually the insights is that like you might end up with a whole new audience that you weren't targeting when you came in initially with a very narrow targeting. You might end up finding, a whole new, for example, for a brand that's selling, let's say, sports gear, if it's only targeting the ones who are going to wear the sports kit, not the mom, but all of a sudden you realize, actually, you know what, the mom's the buyer. And before you know, like you're expanding your audience and you're reaching new, obviously, folks to acquire. That kind of insights is how I would also make sure that you're using ASC for.
Very cool. What do you have any best like actually my first question is, we have different scales of advertisers that listen to this podcast. We have Unilever who listens to this podcast. We have startups and even earlier stage. What do you advertise? Is ASC for everyone? Is ASC for people who are just starting for their Facebook campaign, looking for best results, maybe don't have a ton of material, as much as it is for Jones Road Beauty, who's spending millions potentially a day sometimes on the platform?
It's a great question, and we have run some events where performance marketing summits where I would highly encourage folks to go and find the recordings and actually watch those. But there one key thing to take away from this is also this performance 5. We talk about it in that, and we try to keep it very simple. Any advertiser, large, small, wherever you're based in the world, we try to give you, like, this advice should really resonate. And if you want to grow and get better performance, these are the 5 things. First of all, simplify the account structure and put ad creative in one central campaign. That's 1. 2, use automation tools to optimize campaigns. ASC, Advantage Shopping campaigns. Differentiate your creative by audience. You and I already talked about that. Get the insights, differentiate, feed new creative. Utilize Conversions API to improve campaign performance and making sure that you're getting the right measurement back. And last but not least, measure your campaigns with tools like, conversion lift, A/B tests, and marketing mix modeling. These are the 5 things. I'm just like, simplify the ad account structure, use automation tools, differentiate the creative by audience, Conversions API, and then measure with a bunch of tools like conversions lift and A/B testing and MMM models. So I think these 5 should be very applicable to folks listening. And we've seen, and the reason why we're recommending these, like we have proof points that indicate when you do these 5 well, hopefully you'll get the best bang for the buck on the platform.
Are there any of those that you find listeners to this podcast or just advertisers in general are not taking up as quickly as you think they should?
No. I think sometimes we don't see all 5, and I would say think about all 5. When you bring all of this together, it all works much, much, much better. Like the puzzle pieces fit together. So that would be my biggest advice in terms of, making sure that the performance 5, you can find a lot about that on our collateral. And I would just study that and learn that and try to apply that to the best degree possible.
Now, we're talking about AI internal to Facebook, and a lot of what we've discussed, especially back in the early days, sounds a lot like machine learning. It sounds a lot like, looking for patterns, matching things up as best as possible. And now we're talking a lot about generative AI. Probably everyone in this podcast is using ChatGPT. They're probably using Midjourney or things like this. And I'm always interested in when Meta takes its next leap from like, hey, you input everything and we'll parse it and serve it in the right way to make sure you get maximum conversion results, to the point where they're incorporating either their own generative text or image platforms where Meta is actually playing a bigger role in the creation of the ad from just scanning the website. Or what can you say about that aspect of generative AI and the ad process?
Yeah, this is great. I what I'm really excited about is an advertiser cannot talk about the holiday season early enough, right? It's July, and this is critical moments for all of us in the industry, and this is going to be the holiday of AI. First holiday cycle powered by AI, I think, for both consumers and marketers, which is super exciting and interesting. I think we're going to see a lot more tools come up, and we're going to learn about these tools. For us, we have the AI Sandbox, which we've already announced. It's basically a creative resource for brainstorming, where you can build different text, different backgrounds, and have like some editing and cropping tools. So. And one of the reasons why we're announcing them even before they're widely available, we're going to continuously make them widely available, is that we want to facilitate conversations with advertisers and the broader industry on the best use cases of these tools, because obviously they're quite nascent still. But yeah, AI generated ads are, definitely the thing. And I think one advice I would give, I guess, all marketers is that, like, I would ask, how can I use AI tools? It's not like it's going to replace the job. It's actually going to help enhance the job, hopefully create capacity for you. So how should a marketer be thinking about, how can I use AI tools better, faster? How can I learn what's working? And these models need us, like, we have the nuance as human beings. We need to teach the nuance. So how can we teach them what's working, what's not working, to, refine the strategy and everything? So I think this is that tipping point where we're now there, and I think this is why it's super exciting to see how this holiday season is going to go with some of these AI tools.
I can see the way ASC is being built, and I can think of, I came from a background of affiliate marketing, and I think that's kind of played through into the way Pilot House thinks about things like creative velocity, right? Creative velocity is something we talk about all the time on the podcast. Creative being the new targeting means that you quite often need a lot of it. And so I'm always interested in the way that our team is using generative AI to create, so many different options when it comes to ad text, or potentially when it comes to images as well. And I feel like that's going to be a really, when people figure out how to feed ASC in the most efficient way with the highest velocity and quality of creative, I feel like there's a real win there.
I mean, spot on. And I think what I would say is, like, there are two critical ways AI is going to help us move faster. Like, one is, it's going to get smarter and it's going to get faster. So the feedback loop I just described about, like, AI to test multiple ad creatives, and then you quickly incorporate that to optimize your campaigns, and, you're running new creatives. That gives you huge velocity, as an advertiser, as a marketer. And I think, it can't, if it can take away some of the, busy work, and then you're actually focused on more of the strategic work, more power to you, and that's one thing. The second thing is, I think I would expect it to, and I think it's already probably doing this in many ways, it's going to accelerate the creative brainstorming process. Like the AI Sandbox tool that I just talked about, it's super early days, but once you're generating ad copy, new backgrounds, aspect ratios, and everything at record speed, then you're going to be able to test various variations faster and mock things up and think about what you would want to change, and, the right models and the right backdrops and all of that. And this is like all generative AI at work. And I think, you can do a lot before you invest in a full shoot, which we know is very costly, right? So you can do a lot of the pre-work in a faster, more efficient way. So that's why I'm super excited by providing these tools.
Yeah, and I think the other piece, we talked about it earlier, but just the way that AI can uncover your blind spots. Like, every marketer has the creative they love best, maybe the audiences they love best, the ones that the way that they view the brand, it quite often can limit the way you present the brand in a way that other people might like it. And I feel like AI is so good, whether you're just sort of downloading all of your customer reviews and looking for the phrases that mean the most to people so that you can kind of put those into your ads. I think that's the other huge use for AI, is just sort of like taking in huge amounts of information and kind of spinning gold from that in a way that you can then feed into your ASC campaigns that resonates with more and more customers and uncovers the blind spots that you might have as a marketer.
So true. And like, one of the fun stories is like a blind spot in a way that you didn't know you had, like unknown. I'll give you this example. I referred to it a bit earlier. So Built Basics is a D2C menswear from Southern California. It's one of our disruptor clients. And they were one of the early testers of Advantage Plus shopping campaigns back in Q4 of 2022, like end of last year. And they basically ran a bunch of ad creatives through the campaign, and were surprised to see purchases from women. It's a menswear brand, and they're seeing women buying on Black Friday push, and they had only thought they would only target traditional male buyer, only to realize that, oh wow, there's a female buyer, people buying for their boyfriends, husbands, sons, and then actually, not only did they now broaden that, they have built a new line of clothes for women because of the insights. So that tells you, so much is these like blind spots and unknowns. You kind of have to keep an open mind because those insights are going to give you, hopefully, net incremental learnings that you can go and expand and, even come up with new product lines.
Yeah, or in some cases, they inform the whole brand. I just had my friend Brian, who was formerly from Greater Than, which was a sporting drink that was like really geared towards men and hydration, and it had all these like heavy sporting imageries, in its marketing. But they found out that it had become this like preferred drink to Pedialyte for breastfeeding mothers, which is like so much like the exact opposite market in some ways when it comes to how you might approach it. It was through Meta Ads actually that this was fully uncovered. And that's actually now they've rebranded, and their whole business now is kind of on who buys it. And it's a really great example of the power of Meta. Which I talk about all the time on the podcast. And people, it's funny, when you're building a business on the back of a giant like Meta or Google or these other big players, you always have gripes. You're always like, I was just talking, I'll actually send you the podcast with our head of research, Taylor. We did a big podcast just yesterday that'll come out tomorrow that's all about the different bid types. We were running all these control tests against all the different bid types. Mm-hmm. He had this very specific gripe about post IDs and how it's much more difficult now to find post IDs. So this is all to say we have our gripes as marketers, but there's never been a tool that's been this valuable for advertisers in general, for whether you're running a restaurant, whether you've got a small community event, or whether you're running like an international conglomerate. So like, just not to be too praiseworthy, but just thanks, by the way, for creating this.
No, thank you.
It's pretty sweet.
The feedback, the constructive feedback, the feedback of success stories, those are all super valuable, and I always appreciate hearing it, and also appreciate hearing constructive feedback that we can take on board and hopefully incorporate in our next round of the roadmap and address. So, but that's exciting to hear, obviously, because
make it easier to find post IDs.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the one right now. Make it easier to find because once you find that winning post that has all of your feedback on it, has all your the conversations that maybe happened and the comments that have been answered, you really want to find that, put it into other campaigns. And right now it's a pretty tricky process apparently to find that post ID. So
all right, I'm noting that literally pen in hand.
Okay, good. Taylor will love it. I wanted to ask too, like we talked a lot about ASCD, the future of AI in Meta and the process of all the tools that you've had your hands on. What personally has been your favorite thing that you've shipped on the Meta team?
I will give you two answers. I'm going to cheat. I would say one of them is the early days of cross-border business when we expanded our lookalikes and delivery and targeting to be global delivery and international lookalikes, so that many businesses who didn't know they could find customers in a geography that was totally out of reach, they thought they could, and therefore had a lot of powerful stories about businesses scaling and expanding because of the increased revenues. So that was one. That was early days, and it was very cool to see the whole overall global nature and being able to do that for businesses of all sizes around the globe. And I would say the second one is Advantage Plus shopping, and just the scale at which and the fact that it just really started working around the holidays, Q4 2022, when people were testing. And then now we're seeing more and more of the portfolio, and we're bringing more of the, various features to it. It's just really, really has been a, gratifying and, really fun journey. And it's just the beginning, right? Like,
yeah. It's something you'll build on for years and years and years, right? It sounds like this Advantage Plus platform. I always thought of it more as a tool, but hearing you describe it, it's obviously this sort of suite of products that you're going to kind of keep building on.
Yeah, and I think like the ad creative part that you and I like touched on, and I know we're almost at time, but I just want to emphasize this point again. Like, creative is so key, and being able to use some of these AI tools, generative AI tools, to really get the iterating on the creative with the right insights is going to make everyone's campaigns perform better and stronger and all of that. So I think this is why leaning into the AI tools now and into the future is going to help all marketers be smarter, more efficient, and faster. And I think with the holiday season ahead of us, I think this is a really timely conversation you and I are having, because I think hopefully folks will get some key insights from this and implement tomorrow into what they're doing on the platform.
Here's one question before we finish. With ASC, with it being sort of this smart gumbo pot mentality, how do you handle things like when you do have specific messages that need to get out in timely fashions? Do you so say you're doing if we're doing a holiday, or specifically maybe like a Black Friday campaign, would you make a specific campaign that has all of your holiday messaging in it, or is it smart enough to know like when to serve the messaging and when not? How does that work?
The former. I would make a very specific so that you still have more of, and now you can test within that, right? Make the holiday message, test the holiday message. And you can even test a business as usual campaign versus letting ASC automate and see the comparison. We have a tool where you literally click a button and then your business as usual campaign becomes an ASC campaign and you're able to compare and contrast. But I would really, I wouldn't get hyper specific, but I would be, targeted in terms of, okay, without going too many ad, creation accounts and stuff, I would just make sure that you have great creative and message testing you're doing for the holiday. That would be my advice.
And any final advice? I love that this is such great timing, because I know so many advertisers are just starting, they're really starting to think about Q4. I think there's some economic factors heading into this Q4 that might be intimidating some brands. But as you say, this is the first season of AI. It's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. Any final words for people kind of thinking about the holiday season already and how they're going to make the most of it using AI and AI products?
Yeah, it is going to be this amazing holiday season powered by AI. So lean into it would be my advice. Performance 5, just find the success on Meta, really, really take that on board and, apply that. And you really use AI tools for creative strategy and lots of testing. And then, of course, play with it. And I think this is for this holiday season and ongoing. We as an industry are at such a great tipping point. And I think the more we lean in and help these models and tools develop to achieve the outcomes we need. Marketers need to lean in and use these. And, with more learning, it's machine learning. So it needs that. I think they're going to get smarter and better. So, but net, lean into the AI powered tools. It'll be more efficient, more powerful, and hopefully better returns for the overall campaigns you're running.
Agreed. Goksu has spoken. Meta has spoken. Let's get on these AI powered tools, guys. Thanks for coming on the D2C podcast. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait till you come back and talk about the next big aspect that Meta is building. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think you and I talked about doing this also at Cannes next year, right?
That's right. You convinced me. I have to go to Cannes next year, so you can catch D2C and Meta at Cannes next year. I've never been to France, so I think it's time.
Well, hopefully I'll see you there or before then.
Nice. Okay, thanks, Ghost. This is great.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can do that right now at direct-to-consumer, all one word, .co. I'm Eric Dick, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.